Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen and channel. Today I'm going to show you how I make my red beans. I'm using 2 cups of red beans today. So I always urge people, wash your beans before you put them to boil. Start up clean. And you will have a clean dish. Okay, so I'm going to wash this a second time and I'm going to put it up in my pot and I'll show you the next steps. See, the beans already washed, the red beans, and it's clean now. So let's get cooking. So in my water that has been boiling, in goes that bean. In goes 2 teaspoons of salt. And the trick to getting that beans to boil on the soft side and to boil a little faster, you're going to add in 1 teaspoon of baking powder. That will soften up that bean. Give that a mix. You're going to put some more water in your kettle and put it up to hot. And you're going to throw in that water in here as well. And let that beans come to a boil. Now if you notice, I did not soak my red beans before. Sometimes I soak it overnight, sometimes I soak it for a couple hours. You don't necessarily have to do that, okay? I'm going to let this come to a boil. It's going to swell. I'll show you when it's almost finished, that consistency of that bean, the softness that we want. And I'll show you the next steps in cooking it. So that's the beans. So these are the few simple ingredients for my red bean, or stew red bean, as we say here in the Caribbean. So first I have here some onions, finely cut up. I have some carrots, that's also finely cut up. I have pimento pepper, that's the whole pimento, and that's the cut up ones. I have chives. I have celery. I have tomatoes or tomatoes. I have garlic. I have ketchup. I have sweet pepper, that's cubed up as well. And I have a spoon of my green seasoning. So that's all the condiments for that red bean. And here I have my brown sugar. I have my soy sauce. I have my Worcestershire sauce. I have my salt and I have my oil. And you need a pot and you're gonna put it up. So let's get cooking. So see how my red beans are swelled and swollen. Okay, I'm going to show you it with another spoon. See how beautiful it has swollen. So you don't necessarily need to soak your the red beans before, and it is starting to crack. It is starting to soften up. So I'm going to let it continue boiling because it's a little hard for me right now. I'm going to continue letting it boil a little bit more, and then I'll show you that consistency. So let's check the red beans and see where it has reached. Most of the water, the liquid, has dried up. So what I want to check here is the softness of that bean. So it is a little on the hard side. So I'm going to let it continue boiling. But I'm going to add in just a little bit of that baking powder again. And give it a turn. This baking powder will soften up that bean in a short space of time. So I'm going to lower that heat down and cover it and let it continue boiling a little bit. And I'll show you the next step. So my beans are finished. See, there's not much liquid in the bottom of the pot. And it has softened up really, really nice. You're going to take a knife and cut your bean. Once that knife goes through very easy, it's going to be good, right? You can also take a knife or take the back of your finger and press on that bean and you would know it's finished. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to strain this and I'll show you the next step. In the same pot that it was boiling, you're going to wash it back and add your oil. And you're going to add your sugar. Let that come up to our golden brown color and I'll show you the next steps in putting that red beans together. Once the sugar starts to melt a little bit and mix with the oil, just give it a few turns until it starts to bubble and gets on the golden brown side. A nice golden brown, because we don't want it too dark. You see how it's starting to bubble a little bit? Give it a turn again. This is called the caramelization method, where that sugar is loose, that sugar grain or granulite is loosening up and getting to that caramel color. So for me, this has a beautiful, beautiful color. And I'm going to start layering my ingredients here. I'm starting off with my onions, my carrot, because that is hard, my pimento, pepper goes in, my sweet pepper goes in, or bell pepper, and my tomato goes in. My whole pimento goes in. Give that a mix. Some of my chives goes in, and some of my celery goes in. In goes my garlic. Give that a turn. In goes my ketchup. Give that a mix. Or turn the pot as we say here in the Caribbean. That pepper, that pimento pepper that I left whole, that is going to cook with the red beans and slowly crack, and that heat takes it, and that flavor of that pepper is going to go into that red beans slowly. And in goes my red beans. See how beautiful, beautiful that looks. And my spoon of green seasoning goes in. Now I'll add my Worcestershire sauce. That's this brand. And some of my soy sauce goes in. That's 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And what we're going to do is give this a mix. So coat all our ingredients together. Now, some people in some countries, they leave it thick like this, right? And they puree it. They either put it in the blender or they use their Honey Munchins blender and they puree it and they use it with chips. They use it as a dip. But here in the Caribbean, we add water to it to make that gravy, so we can eat it with rice or roti, with whatever meat you choose to eat it with. And you throw a little bit at a time until you get your consistency that you desire, that you like. Because when you turn off that heat, it is going to get thicker on you. So just add that extra little bit of water. And you're going to cover this and let it continue cooking. You're going to taste it for salt, of course, because I'm not going to add any extra salt. Remember, it was boiled with that 2 teaspoons of salt. Plus, I just added in the soy sauce, and that has the salt as well. So you can taste it and see what your taste is like to your liking. And we're going to cover this and let it continue to cook, and I'll show you when it's finished what it looks like. Keep it on low or medium heat so it won't stick to the pot. Forgot to tell you, mention this is the amount of liquid that when it drained out, this goes back in. This is not necessary, it's optional. But since it's a little bit, I went right ahead and added it in back to the pot. If it was a lot of water remain back, well then you don't need to add it. You throw out that and add fresh water. And you see that hole here? That's where it's going to steam out from. So I'll show you when it's finished. Let's check it. My rest of chives and celery goes in. I like to see that speck of green seasoning to the top. Give it a mix. See how beautiful this red bean looks, rich and nice. So you can imagine how it's going to be really tasty. So let me show you that consistency. Right, you can let it get thicker if you want. This has a really nice consistency. The beans are perfect. Let me give you a closer look. See how beautiful that beans is with all those little simple ingredients. And you see how that pepper is cracking. So that is why I left one whole one. It's going to slowly crack, and that flavor of that pimento pepper is going to let out on that dish. And it's going to slowly, that flavor and that it's going to fragrance this whole pot. It's going to infuse it with that pimento flavor. Now in this you can add whatever veggies you want as well too. If you want to add broccoli or cauliflower, you can cut it up fine as well and add it in. Okay, when you're doing the chunking process with all that onions and garlic and extra vegetables, the carrots, the sweet pepper, whatever you like in your beans, you can add it. Make it your own, create your own fragrance and flavor. Okay, delicious. And that's it. Simple, simple, simple. That's it. It's all finished. I'll show you what it looks like when I've plated it.